Greetings everyone, this is Lodrik again, and today we will check the next turn of our game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition in the match against THG. So today it will be 17th April 1942. Okay. So keep in mind that THG and my person agreed more or less to a, let's say, an inactive period of war now for some turns. So maybe 1 week more like this we will try to reduce our activity against the enemy. Means we will not make big airstrikes or don't use heavy fleet units to attack enemy bases or this. So we have maybe submarine warfare and cleanup operations of behind the line and all this stuff. Okay, so this is one of the older S-class submarines, so they're using the Mark 10 torpedoes. Normally they are more reliable, I think they are more or less standard, like the Japanese and the British or Dutch submarines, but in this case they fail, or THG failed to damage our cargo ship, but our escort also failed to attack the submarine. Also, most of this submarine setup is all in not the best shape, and it's also 1st April. In May, in June, you can maybe say that we really get better stuff. This is the newer Mark 14 torpedo submarine, and but the destroyer to it is always a hard target. Doesn't matter what kind of torpedo you use. And for us it's hard to attack in deep water. This is not only my battleship or mixed task force. Simply I call them back from Rabaul because there's no gasoline, no fuel. I can keep my ships in this base without fuel, but then they're useless. So I normally have to call everything back to Borneo and Singapore or Japan because I need fuel and supplies. And this will need a little more time. So I can use the time to upgrade the ships, repair the ships and all, and reorder and bring bring balance in this kind of setup. Here we have also again a Mark 10 torpedo submarine, and it hit now our tanker. Is a little. This shows you something again that no one ever set up this bases really in the way you have to set up them. Your major ports, Balikpapan, Surabaya, Singapore, Miri, and also Tarakan, you normally need in every base a local minesweeper, and you need a mine tender, and you need at least 150 mines. But so far this all not happened, so this is why I need 1 or 2 weeks to organize this stuff. Or this will normally, this is still then possible, but the chance that my local minesweeper finds a submarine is high, or the submarine will normally have a high possibility to hit a mine and then be damaged, and then it's even more easy to find and sink the submarine. So anyway, it shows you only that there's still so much to do here. Sub warfare is a very bit organized so far, but I try already to bring stuff to the bases where I need it. but I think 1 week is still the minimum time before I really can say, okay, now we're at a level I would say it's normal for this period of time. Because of course I cannot change the time of what time. I mean, I need better equipment, but the better equipment I first get at May, June, July. This is not possible to change, but at least I can, yeah, organize other stuff. And this is one of our local patrol boats, only for checking the sea. And here's a looks like a out of fuel patrol torpedo boat or something like this. But I think none of us have here the wish to fight. No one even shoot here. The allies, they try to escape. And they are faster. So it means they still have some fuel left. And now it's running our other task force. But also run away. Yeah. Of course, these task forces are not all really well set up, but this is simply only all. Most of this stuff is emergency setup. Here's our destroyers finding again THG submarine, but it's still deep water, not really high chance to do something. And again, this is a Mark 10 again. It's a small, older interwar submarines, but they fail. But we also fail. So still. It was a very active submarine warfare turn, but with no results at all. Nothing gets hit, nothing gets damaged. But at least we have activity. The big issue is still not that Batavia is still under the control of THG, so they have an air base here, and he have of course long-range scout airplanes. So he see every task force is coming and going out of Java, and that is why normally number one priority is take Batavia. Number two priority is normally get the bases in a shape you can operate them. And after that I will see. These are the small bombardment strikes against our forces. They still try to moving back because that was a, I don't know, the attempt to bring here two independent operating, two divisions without any supporter HQ trying to cross the mountains. I'm not even understanding why someone would ever try this, but okay. I call them back and I try to get some better tasks for them. Here's our also some units. I call them back. This is first time I think after a long, one destroyed and one disabled vehicle. It's not a big issue. But I don't try to intercept these bombers simply because I don't have any air force there. I am still in the logistic preparations to create air bases. I can run air force out of it. So. Okay. This is one of the few airstrikes I can use so far from Rabul. Only try to get rid of this lost units. I think this is all from the original Port Moresby garrison. They they escaped here and running to the jungle, or they was forced to retreat. Let's say this, and we slowly get rid of them. Okay. No real big impact here. Only small numbers of bombers. Good. This is now our submarine. Looks like we detect here a task force. But there's a KV, so a corvette. A corvette is always oh shit. There was a Allied task force just sailing around of Australia. So not Dojo. THG had many submarines at least can launch their torpedoes, but they hit nothing, and our submarine was driven away by the escort and had not even the chance to attack. And this, I think, last time we kicked one unit out of the hex, and this is the second unit. So only some broken Dutch forces. Looks like Dutch or British. Yeah, Kian. Yeah, this is a Dutch forces. But only maybe a base for not a base force, but something like support units. Good. So this is now the end. Something arrive, combinate, and we arrive at April 18th, 1942. Good. So there was at the end really no activity. We can see the Allies lost no airplane at all, and Japan lost no airplane at all. And last turn also no Japanese, no Allied ship. So really nothing happened. We only had some land battle and some small bombardment. So a very inactive. I mean, we had activity underwater with a lot of submarines, but that was all. And yeah, I mean, with 1 day turns, there's not much change. I can only say that we're still moving back, so the tank units are moving back. You can see we have a distance of 230 miles to travel, and so far we only finished 42. So, and these units are all in combat mode, simply because THG still bombards them, and if you have them in combat mode, they suffer less. And movement is speed, but in this case I would simply go slowly. They are still mobile units, so they even travel in combat mode faster compared to normal infantry units. And the infantry and the artillery here is working in move mode. So maybe they will arrive at the same time here at the base. Here I more or less catch them up all. Here's the HQs, and then they are. I bring here also supplies in the space. I call supplies in, so over 10,000 at least, better 20,000. but it's hard to get supplies, so because there is no supplies. Yeah, but and then we must train them and let them recover and regroup them. These units are maybe not all broken, but they have a very strange order. So you can go to soft and then you can check, say this is okay. They're all at 80 or 90, so not many units are damaged here, but they are completely very strange order. You can see Southern Army. Southern armies have nothing to do in China. Southern armies are units you use everywhere, but not in Japan and not in China. So they are flexible units normally to go and fight in the Philippines, Malaya, Burma, Java, Sumatra, wherever you want, but they can go everywhere. The other units, like the 13th Army, is normally not able to walk out because the 13th Army belongs to the Chinese Expedition Army, so they are restricted to the greater area of China. They can go from Manchukuo, because Manchukuo is part of China, and China. Maybe they can also go to Thailand, I'm not so sure. But that is the thinking behind this. Why it's for me, from my point of view, it makes no sense to use this. Of course, you can say you want here all units at the beginning to have a fast, easy win in China, and then you focus for other locations. But this makes no sense, because then why I keep so many units in Manchukuo? Because there are still many possible units you can take out of Manchukuo so far. And normally China will never really be super important. It makes the life for the Japanese more easy if you can take these spaces. These are the 3-4 super important bases. The Japanese, if they can take it, then they have a more easy stand against the Chinese in the long run. But this not happened, so I don't know. Again, these 4 cities looks important, but they are totally not important. Important is this stuff. Okay, and okay. So in China, and also the next 3-4 turns, we moving only back. I try to install here a base, so I will build up here an air base, because from this location it's easy to normally fight all these bases. A second air base is in Canton, and I build out a little more because I have an option to strike in the west direction. I have a second air base from here for these 3 bases, because these 3 bases are also very important. Before I take these bases, I mean, number 1 is for me here. Number 2 priority is normally this area. And because there's the logic behind this is, if the Japanese take these bases, they are already very close to the inner province of Sichuan, and they can threaten this industry area, because Chengdu and Chongqing are really the core. You can see the industry output here: light industry, heavy industry, manpower, victory points. Chengdu is number 2 and number 1 is Chongqing. If you take these bases, then China is broken. So if the Japanese take these bases, of course it's still hard to cross the mountains, but for the Chinese it is impossible to ignore this. They have to bunch a lot of forces in this area to hold this 2, 3, 4 hexes. And this will simply force the Chinese to keep forces here. And this will make it more easy to strike in the south. And if you take these bases in the north, and the Chinese have to bunch up a lot of forces here in this area, and then you strike again in the south and take these 3 bases, you threaten to move here north. And in that moment, it is impossible to hold these 4 cities. So take first the north, take these bases, go threaten this, and the Chinese player must retreat to hold this base, and normally this base. Or if the Chinese player loses these cities, you lose all of the west area, go around of Kunming. So it makes all sense if you check the map. If I try to kick here in, the Chinese player can simply go back and say, okay, I hold this city. He can still hold this, and he can hold everything in the north. This will simply not open an opportunity to easily take the next bases. It's an operation on its own. You can do this, yeah, but I don't see a benefit in the long run. I only have now this 4 bases. They have some industry, and they will hurt the Chinese economy, but they don't have strategic value for me. Okay, but I think I said this before. Only to explain again why I think it's make no sense to crush here in the center. So in the next set we arrive here with our 2 divisions. So I normally will put them in strategic mode, and then I will send them to Singapore. And then from Singapore I can choose where I want to go. Simply because they are Southern Army, so they can go everywhere. And Singapore is simply a big harbor, and it's for me the most easy way to carry them around. I would normally now organize, I take this because I try to find everything what have fighting power. I bring it to Singapore, and from Singapore I normally will bring it here to Java. Simply we need more fighting power. I have here 1300, but I need at least 2000, better 2500. In best case I have here 3000 attack value to take Batavia more easily. With these little numbers I maybe can attack, and then after 2 weeks maybe I take the base. Fine, the base is completely broken, my units are completely broken, and I don't think this is a style I play this game. I play this game on high efficiency and not on lust for war or for action and fun. I don't think that you can really play this kind of game for fun and action. You can do it, but it's same like you play chess. You can play chess for fun and action, but it's a game style for other people. Here in central of Sumatra, we won this double battle here, but now, so this means all these forces are now broken, and we can now try catch them up. So we tick the units, so we saw we had the battle, so our unit is in combat mode, and this will automatically switch to defense order after there's no enemy more in the hex war. I think this is standard. And I will change now and go to move mode, choose the hex where I want move, I go to the next hex and say walk there. Then you can very barely, but you can see it, that the game say, okay, your march direction is northwest. It's direct, means it's you go from your starting point to your target directly. You don't go around. So this is why the game say direct. Then the in red is enemy, means the game tell you, okay, if you walk there, this hex where you want walk is under control of enemy units. And in purple, hard to read of course, there's the name of a river. So the game will tell you, you cross a river, and you can see here is a river. You can also push the button F6. Push the button F6 and you see the connection between the hex. And you can see that from this hex to this hex there's a purple border. And purple is a river. Everywhere where you can see purple is a river crossing. You can see here this is also Singapore. This is a mainland and Singapore is an island. and it counts like a river. It's a river crossing. It's not an amphibious assault, but it's a river crossing. Yeah. And the difference is in green is names land to land. White means it's a beach, so far I know. I don't really know what if there is any special rule because you walk from the land hex, from this land hex to this land hex, but it's connected via a beach. I really don't know if there's if there's a difference between this and the green border, because they're still land to land walking. Important is normally only the purple stuff, because this is always river crossing, means always. Normally, if you enter with your hex if you enter a hex and there's an enemy, and you normally have a very high chance. It's not super always, but nearly always. You can better count like always. You cross the river, there's an enemy on the other side of the hex. Your units have automatically to do a shock attack at that moment. So never try to enter a hex with a small unit if there's an enemy stronger with you, because you will have a shock attack. And a shock attack is simply the losses will be doubled for both sides, more or less, you can say it like this. So if you make a shock attack, you gamble much higher. If you win this shock attack, you can hurt more, and you often break the enemy morale. But if you be not successful in a shock attack, you simply suffer a lot more of your units. And so this is also why I normally nearly ever take shock attacks, because if you know you're on the winning street, I don't want to risk anything, because if I win this turn or next turn, so far I know I win, I don't must gamble. Of course, this is game style. It can be faster if you make shock attacks, but one day you will maybe lose a battle, because there's always some luck in this game. So sometimes you're simply only unlucky and have bad values, and then you lose the battle, and then you suffer more. Yeah. So, and remember that the red border is impossible to cross. This is simply this. Red borders cannot be crossed. Means more or less, if you want to land at this base, because here's a base, and you want to make, because it's an island, you can only make amphibious assault. You cannot land from this hex here. You cannot land from this hex here. You also cannot land from this hex to this hex. So you can see other options are possible. You can land here, 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 here. But red is always not possible. And you can see here again the green. So these two hexes are linked via land. These two hexes are linked via a beach. Okay, this is F6. F6 always tell you what is true nature. And maybe there's also other information. No. You don't get any here information. You only see that you walk northwest, but it's tell you not how you. No, this is, I think, war in the east have additional information, but here it's more simple. Okay, so we use this unit, try to walk here up and clean up this unit, and I walk here up also with my unit still. You can see here again, we're moving northwest. The total distance is 46. We crossed so far we did 28 miles. So next turn we will arrive this hex. There's an enemy, but there's no river. So next turn we will arrive here, and then I can change to combat mode, and then I will make a standard attack. Simply this is only one unit, I think it's also already broken, so it's only, we must clean up here stuff. At the same time, I can normally also maybe bring some in support here, because I think in Palmbang, yeah, only to make an example, I have here Palmbang. I have a garrison request of 20, but I have here 82. So I can take a attack value out of 62 out without any trouble. So I have this Navy Guard unit exactly with 62, so I can take this unit out without having problem with this garrison request. And so I will do this. I will send now, use this unit, tell us, okay, let's try to, yeah, so make sure that this unit don't retreat to the base, or that normally that it will give up more easy. I will say first, okay, prepare for landing here. Then it drops down, but it have already some preparation points. Then I will go into the port, say, okay, let's make a, I mean, you can first check what you have. Of course, you must first check what you have, but I know already what I have. So I have here all these small shitty cargo ships, I have some patrol ships, I have here some troop transport cargo ships. I don't know if the Allies can do this, but the Japanese, they can do this. They can more or less take any cargo ship. I think really any. Yeah, nearly any. Or I think not here, but you need a shipyard to do this. Maybe we can do this shortly here in Surabaya. Oh. I thought you can really do this with everyone. Looks not with every cargo ship. Give me cargo ships. 14th. Yeah. Okay, not every cargo ship can do this, but many cargo ships can do this. These are normally, I think, the same type of ships. So you can see this is a normal cargo ship, civilian cargo ship, X for civilian, AK for cargo ship, and this is the same, but with a T, and T means it is a modification for transport, troop transport. And let's check, I think it's really the same ship. This is Tahoe class. This is also Tahoe class. So it's really the same ship. And the difference is now, the normal cargo ship edition have a speed of 14, have a victory of 7, it can transport 280 troops or 3 and this is always and, not or. So some troops and a lot of cargo. And then you convert this ship. If they convert this cargo ship to a carry or to carry troops, you can touch this. Then it gets some system damage. It will be damaged for 5 days, must stand down. So it will, I think, 5 days stand down. This will not change, and then after 5 days, the modification is over, and then you can repair the ship. So now you cannot use the ship. You must wait 5 days, and after 5 days I would normally first repair the system damage before I really use it. Okay, but now you can also see that from 280 we changed to 1160, but at the same time we also drop some cargo. So the Japanese simply, they say, okay, there's a standard cargo ship, and then they making some very simple, fast changes to the ship to carry a lot of units here inside. This is why you can make for cheap money in short time. You can create a lot of cargo capacity for your troops, because I mean, troop capacity you can increase a lot very fast. And if you play the Japanese after 1 week, after the first invasion stuff is over, I would always try to pick this 14 speed cargo ships and convert at least half of them, because this will make it very easily to move a lot of power from one island to the next island. You also have professional troop transport ships somewhere. Maybe let me check here. Well, we take this. Yeah, these are official transport civilian. So these ships are also civilian ships because they have an X, but they are APs, so they are designed to transport people. So you can see their purpose here is, I transport a lot of people and a little cargo. And these ships you cannot convert, because this is other class. They are not AKs, they are APs. Okay, but back to the original topic was Palmbang. I want to have an invasion in this base, so I say, okay, form a new amphibious unit. Don't show me other ships in task force. Okay. The next stuff is normally show me troop capacity. I order it always like this. And then I can see, okay. Then there's always speed. Then I say, okay, I take now these 3 ships with a speed of 14 because they have the same speed. And because I know there can be danger somewhere, I say, okay, give me the destroyer and the escort ship. You can also add more, but normally 2 is okay, 3 is I think the maximum normally. And then we say, yeah, it's fine. Then we are already docked because the harbor, I mean, sometimes it's docked, sometimes it's automatically not, I mean, sometimes it's docked and sometimes it's undocked. I'm not so sure why it's, but I always check to make sure that it's docked. If it's docked, like, then you can simply load stuff faster. So, if possible, I would always dock, of course. Then I say load troops. Then I check where I want here Padang. I make it like target, but you can also order it like for name or attack value is often easy. But most of time I choose first where I won't go. Of course, I must remember where I won't go, and then I order it with a target, and then it's also easy to pick. At the same time, I can see attack value of 62, so I say, yeah, select this unit. But to speed up stuff, and simply because I don't need supplies, because this is not a real heavy land battle, I say now only carry units. So I turn on load troops only, no supplies. Book. So this task force will load this unit, but only with basic supplies. So only what the unit can directly carry on supplies. The unit will have fill up maximum supplies, but no additional supplies. And this will simply reduce the load time. Then I say accept this load. Then I tell the ship remain on station and go to the base. Then I make check that it's normal and direct. I always go normal and direct. Direct is always the fastest way. Say fuel is faster. Tolerance of normal is also okay, because you have some escort stuff, and yeah, this is for me standard. And I also want that the unit is first stay here. We unload, we take the base, and after this is done, I simply will normally say, okay, and then if I'm already here, I take this Navy Guard unit and take this base. Then I go and take this base, and then I pick up these bases here, zack, zack, zack. And then I'm done with Sumatra. Okay. What else I can explain here shortly? Yeah. Maybe how I set up my anti-submarine stuff. If we touch key number 6, we can see already patrol zones. So you can see everywhere where there is this golden hex, there is a ship on patrol duty. Can be normal patrol or can be submarine patrol. That is more or less the same. I really don't think that the game really separates this. And the green stuff is always waypoint hexes. And then this shows you, this is normally an easy way to see if you miss something. Because if you check now task force by task force, then you will never really see if there, oops, this was wrong. If you maybe here you can see there's still some area is not controlled, or I mean you don't must check every hex, but it will show you where is something missing maybe more easily. So now I can go to Surabaya. I think firstly here's the task force arrive already. They unload some fuel simply because in Surabaya was no fuel, so I had to carry from Balikpapan and Tarakan everything what I can find and bring it down. And now I don't need this task force. And I also know here are submarines. We just saw a lot of submarines are here. So it's a little dangerous to operate ships if it's not really necessary. So I have here at least some fuel now. 22,000 is not much, but at least something. On the other hand, also Tarakan I think is nearly empty. This is far too less to bring here anything. For 10,000 I don't must operate here anything. And Balikpapan is also very low on fuel, only 17,000. The oil is high, but I don't have a shortage on oil, so I normally need fuel. So maybe 1 week or 2 weeks I can wait, and then 1-2 weeks I can carry here again fuel to Surabaya. Because these two bases, Balikpapan normally will bring the fuel to Surabaya. With Tarakan you can normally bring it maybe to Manila or to the Paulo Islands, simply because this is also an important hub, and you can run here a lot of submarines or other stuff. Later on is normally not so important. Before you take Surabaya, I normally operate everything out of this basis, but now after I have Surabaya, this is normally not more so important. Manila is normally important. Now I cannot use it because Bataan is still under American control, and there are hundreds of mines, so you can really not operate anything here. But you have here many islands with resources. And before I will operate from one base here and ship everything independently from Japan back and forward, that is too dangerous, I would say. It makes more sense to bring first everything in the Philippines to Manila, and from Manila you can make the long distance supply trip to Japan. Then you need only this long distance, need a escort, a heavy escort, let's say this. And this is all shallow water. For Allied submarines to operate here is very dangerous. I mean, compared to this deep water, they can always try to hit in deep water. So there are two options. The Allied player simply won't risk it and he bring it here in shallow water, or he's maybe I don't know, you can say he's a little stupid, or he don't care the risk. I would normally never operate a submarine in shallow water if it's not a must case. THG try here now to bring the submarine in the harbor, maybe because he knows that he has no mines, and then of course you can do this. But it's a very risky operation already. Luckily for him, he has really nothing set up. You can see he has nothing. No mines, no mine tender, nothing. So I already have here some stuff on the way. Here you can see this local mine sweeper. Every important base need one of this in the port. It will always detect normally enemy mines and get rid of them. And it is also something like a sub hunter. I mean, they are not very powerful. They only have the minimum, the lowest power to attack a submarine, but it can detect submarines. It will always scare them a little. And you can see they have an 8cm gun, so a submarine can normally not make a surface engagement with this kind of ship. I would say if a submarine try to attack this ship on surface, they may be both sunk. And if both sunk, then you win, because 1 point ship against a submarine, that is always a trade everyone will do. And especially remember, every port is automatically first shallow water. So there are no deep water ports. So if a submarine comes to a port, it is simply, I think so far I know, always it counts like shallow water first. And so that is why this is a minimum you need. The next level, and normally standard level, is that you have mines. Like here in Saigon, there's now 238 mines with 1 ACM. Remember that 1 ACM is 150 mines. So we will have now a decline on mines over time. So this number will slowly go down to 150, because 1 ACM will keep 150 mines maintenance. The 150, you will never drop under 150 mines so long you have one mine tender. If you have here 2, you can have up to 300, and then 450 and 600 and so on and so on. Okay, but this is normally the next minimum. Balikpapan, Tarakan, Surabaya, Manila later, Batavia, Palm Bank, Singapore, also Georgetown, Saigon, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Takao. They all need at least 150 mines and one mine tender. And the top ports like Singapore and Hong Kong, Surabaya, I would say better 2 mine tenders and 300 mines. The only problem is that the Japanese don't produce too many mines. This is also the reason why I always will try to have early on mine tender and don't waste your mines. The production is not so high. You can check this. You can go to industry troop and I think it's industry troop. Deactivate mine. Then you can check here. The Japanese have I don't know. They have 2 different types. I don't know. This is for game reasons, I think. You can see this was 0 the first 2 lines. So maybe this happened from an update long time ago, and I don't know why it's left over. But you can see here, this is the real numbers. You have the type 4 mine, type 88 mine, type 93 mine, and type 3 mine. Then you can see what is in the pool, what is used so far, and the building rate per month. You also can see that this type 3 mine first arrived at the end of 42. And the different type of mines are defense mines, mines you can throw in your harbor. Then you have submarine mines, mines only a submarine can transport. Then you have mines from a mine layer, and these are airdrop mines. These mines are, I don't know how they really call them, but you can load these mines on a bomber and drop them over enemy ports, and this is the other option. You can normally bring mine cruisers to a location and drop mines. You can bring submarines to drop mines, or you can use bombers to drop mines. But this is first possible in the end of 42. To do this is, I only show this here once, but I don't know if I can do this. You need a twin engine bomber, so far I know. Maybe in Bangkok. Level bombers. Yeah. You can attack, this can take mines, and you go off training, then you can go city attack, because official is a city attack. Then you can choose Rangoon. Then you can normally attack, you can say now what you want to attack here to destroy installation. But you can normally also mine the port. But it's grayed out because it's too early. You don't have the mines now. But this is normally the option. You can choose here the city. And then you say mine port. And then the airplane try to do this. You can do this, I think, at day or night. It doesn't matter. But you cannot do this because you don't have mines now. But I must also say that normally only because you really don't have many mines, and it's, I think, I don't know how many mines an airplane can carry. So firstly, you must know that you must make sure that it makes sense for you. That not that there's enemy fighters intercept your bombers. Maybe a standard torpedo attack on the enemy fleet is still better. And if there's an enemy minesweeper, then you drop the mines, but the minesweeper simply get rid of them. And then I don't know if you really win something. I never did it really. I only read about this. And I also read that many players say make no sense. The impact is simply too small. The risk to lose your bombers for this kind of missions are too high. Okay, and to see the difference, maybe we can do this fast here. Or ships. We have here ACM. This is a local mine tender, and he used the mine 4. This is a defense mine. Then we have submarines. Yeah, we have here some submarines. Show me submarines. They can use the 88 mine. And then we have mine cruisers. They're using the 93 mine. So these are the 3 mines you use now, and later you get this type, the air mine, for the Air Force. And this is this mine stuff. But normally mines are 99% defense stuff. I use them normally only to mine my own port, to make sure that not that what just THG did here, coming to my port with a submarine or coming with a cruiser or whatever, with an enemy task force into the port and not get damaged by the mine. I mean, the mine will never stop anything. They are passive. They cannot actively try to stop the fleet. But the risk is simply that a ship hit a mine and have very high flotation. And this means normally this don't must sink immediately, but it slows down very. It loses half of the speed also like this. And if you're lucky, it's so high flotation level that it will normally sink in the next 2-3 turns. So you must do nothing. Or it is very slow, and then you can maybe create a counter-strike and sink this crippled ship. And if the enemy try to save his crippled ship and slow down all of the task force, then maybe you can get a big engagement in your favor. Okay, this is about this mine stuff, because I don't know if maybe everyone understands this completely, and it's not really so complicated. The other reason again, if you don't have a mine tender, so far I know, every day 1% of your mines in the harbor you control or base you control, 1% is lost. If you throw the mines in the shallow water, you lose 5% per day. And if you in deep water, I think it was 15%, but can be more, I don't know more. It's simply, but you can say it like this: you can throw mines in shallow water because you can only maintenance mines in bases. In the base you can maintenance a mine and you will not lose them. But there's no way that you maintenance something outside of the port. So if I throw them here or THG throws them here, they will always lose 5 mines per turn. Per day, not per turn. In this case, a day is a turn, but not always. So you can throw mines in shallow water. This will, at least, let's say this, for 1 week it's okay, but after 1 week most of the mines are already disappeared. In shallow, in deep water, it's more or less 2-3 days. You can never throw so many mines in a hex. They have a real impact. Maybe for 1 turn. If you're lucky, maybe for 2 turns. So let's say this: if you know there's a big task force coming in the next day and it will pass this hex, then of course you can say, okay, I bring you now 5 or 4 submarines. Each submarine can carry 25 mines. So I have here 100 mines for 1 turn. Next turn I have only 85 mines. Then I have maybe 72 mines or something like this. So you can see after 2-3 days the minefield is so small, then you already must have the next bunch of submarines bring mines here. Yeah, but let's stop this. This is at the end only a very small option here in this game and not have really any big impact. Yeah, what else I can say? So you know, China, I'm still organize stuff. Thailand, I bring back stuff and must organize it. The main purpose is I try to find all of these Southern Army units, bring them to a port, pick them up, bring them to Java, crash and take Batavia, and the war goes on. Take Sumatra and also here this little stuff here, but I will not invest here too many forces. And this the problem is here normally the two divisions are also blocked here, and I need them normally for Burma. But the bigger problem is that if THG can hold a Batavia, Bataan, then I cannot use Manila port, and this makes it more complicated to organize the whole Philippines. Okay, everything my task forces are here. Yeah, these are the battleships. They're on the way to Singapore. And here are also some carriers on the way to Singapore. So we're all trying to arrive in Singapore sooner or later. And simply, I can also go normally to Hong Kong or somewhere else, but I really don't have everywhere enough fuel. Here you can see 10,000 fuel. 10,000 fuel. And even less than 10,000 fuel. So there is no fuel left. So what I did is, here's now 33. Maybe I can stop them and load first fuel in Miri. This I can maybe do. And then go to Singapore. But I try normally to bring all the fuel from Miri, because in Miri I found something, and some other places they also had fuel. And Saigon and Bangkok are not more so important, or also Hong Kong is not more so important after the Japanese take Singapore. Normally Singapore is simply much more to the front line. Why I won't bring ships so far behind the line to make them ready if I can do it in Singapore? But this also means that you must make sure that Singapore is safe. And of course you always keep some stuff in Bangkok, Saigon, Hong Kong, because they are backup solutions. Saigon normally I would this is not I just start with this because THG or whoever not understands this, that you normally need a shipyard of 20 because you have this heavy cruiser stuff, and you can, if your shipyard of Singapore is overloaded, then you can bring your heavy cruisers to Saigon. It's not too far to do this. So normally if you have a shipyard, I would always go to 20 if you really won't use it. 20 is the minimum to really operate most of the ships for the Japanese units. All heavy cruisers, all light cruisers, all destroyers, everything, but not battleships. This is okay. I think this is only some stuff. Okay. The anti-submarine warfare, and then it's I think enough. So here still not, we saw that, maybe we can start here. We saw that here are still submarines in deep water. Okay, and let's check what we have. This is a port. Activate all ships, and we can see that we have here some sub-chasers, and they already have upgrade. So the next upgrade is first in end of 43. So they get already the model 2, so they can now attack in deep water. At the beginning they don't have, I think, the deep water, so this is the first upgrade. You can see this is a upgrade from April 1942. So just this month these ships get an upgrade. Before they are all only good for shallow water. Now you can also use them for deep water. And what I normally do is you can use one ship or two ships of this, but most of the time I use maximum 2. I say make a new submarine hunting, then I say now like this ship, choose it. I always go to action 2. You can also go 3 or 1. It's not really too important. Then I tell it, always direct and normal, yeah, okay. Patrol zone. This is now deep water. So I will tell him, okay, go to Tarakan. And after this you can maybe go, let's see if this is working. Yeah, the range is still okay. Sometimes I think some have not so much range, then you must be careful. So then I go back to Balikpapan. Then I say, okay, 1 day rest to repair damage, because every ship gets normally system damage and engine damage over time, and tank refuel a little, so that you always have enough fuel and that the damage will not build up over time. And then it's okay. This is the first one. Then I say, okay, make the next one. Obviously, don't show me what is already in use, then I can take this one. But this is only a patrol ship, so it can normally not attack in deep water. So I use this kind of ships normally more, depending what else I have. You can use them also for deep water because they still detect submarines. But you also can normally run them in shallow water. So maybe I will tell this unit now to, I don't know how deep I can go, but let's say go here. Then go here. And go back. Rest the day, take a little oil, and fine. And you can, there are different options and different strategy how you can set this up. What I often do is simply, you must think like, how is your cargo shipping running? Your cargo ship's normally running from one base to another base. This means if a submarine want to attack this kind of cargo ship, it must be laying on this kind of route. So it must be somewhere on this between these two bases on a hex, waiting for the task force and attack the cargo ships. And if you have sub hunters following more or less this cargo task forces on the same route, these submarine hunters will normally also engage the submarines. Yeah, this is the thinking why I do this kind of stuff. You can also make area, like sometimes I make it oops, not this one. You can see some stuff is a little more, I check the area, but I also go to the spaces. It's you must make a combination, but you can see here around, I just start with this because I had first to bring the stuff here. Many of the subchasers was not upgraded already, so I have to upgrade them first. I have to wait for some stuff, and you can always try to find your subchasers. You say deactivate all, and then they are patrol. Obviously, they are patrol ships. Then you can see them. Then you go to subchasers. They are here down. And this simply separation again. These are the real one. They have two victory value of 2. They have deep water equipment. And if it's a CHA, it's always the assistant subchasers. They have never deep water equipment. They always only can attack in shallow water. But they have a big number. But again, it can be confusing. Only because there's now an 8 of anti-submarine means not that this ship is really good for anti-submarine warfare. It's only tell you it have an attack value of 8, but the equipment is, you can see here, because we have here 8 of this most shitty anti-submarine equipment, but you have 8 of this. This is why you have 8 points. Each equipment gives you 1 point, but this equipment will only go for shallow water, and even if you make a hit, you will not make much damage. So keep in mind that only purely this number means nothing first. you must normally learn the equipment damage value. And you can use a tracker for this, or you can check it, I think, here. In game. You can go here, and I don't know. You cannot. You must check the name here. Blah 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 blah. Here. Yeah. Here you can see this is a normal one. This is a type 95. This is in feet, of course. It's an American program, so you can go 220 feet deep, but submarines can normally go down around 300, 310, or like this, 330 maybe maximum, and at this time. And so this tells you that a submarine, if it's dived deep, it's can go lower than this depth charger, so it cannot attack a deep dive submarine. Then you have here also the how much damage it will do. No, this is the depth effect, and this is okay. This is how deep it can go, and this is how much damage it do. It's similar. It's still the same. It cannot go deep enough, and it will make not so much damage like others. And this is also, I think, like says, if you want to normally attack a submarine deep in the water, how the depth charger will keep on the position, or it will drift away. Like this is accuracy. So you can see it's also not the perfect accuracy compared to other allied equipment. You can see it's simply it's not so good. And you can see this modification too. They you increase already you can attack now deep water. You can if you find the target, you can more easy hit the target. You can more deep, and if you make the kit you hit the target, you also make more damage. And this is the second generation. Then you get a little more. Then you really can go everywhere. Maybe I don't know if there are submarines they can go deeper than others. I'm not so sure for this why they separate this, but let's say this with this step charge you can really attack any submarine, and you get a little more damage. But the big impact is here. This is shallow water, this is deep water, and this is the better deep water stuff. Okay. Oh, I would say this is enough for today, because I cannot tell you much about the game, because we're still moving stuff around, and so I explain a little strategy and tactics and why the game, or how the game is working. Okay, thank you all. See you again. Take care. Bye bye.